When Taehyung is close to another person, Jungkook's face changes. This has happened many times, but one in particular made something important clear. Taehyung touched J-Hope's neck, and Jungkook was standing right in front of him. His reaction was immediate. He didn't need to say anything. It wasn't an acted scene or an exaggerated reaction to get attention. It was a real reflex. Jungkook didn't agree with that closeness. It's not the first time he's shown it, and this moment confirmed once again that for him, Taehyung isn't someone who can be with just anyone. There's something exclusive between them. Something that's noticeable even when there are no words. Over time, these moments have repeated themselves. Every time Taehyung shows himself comfortable with someone else, Jungkook's eyes follow him. He doesn't look at the other person, he always looks at Taehyung. And his body reacts. Sometimes it's his expression, other times it's his posture that changes. And at other times, he simply moves away or closer to Taehyung, as if he needs to remind everyone that he's there. These reactions don't just appear out of nowhere. They're the result of a constant connection. Jungkook has made it clear with his body language that his closeness with Taehyung is unparalleled. There's a kind of attention, care, and need to be present in his every gesture. That need is especially noticeable when someone else crosses the space they share. This particular moment, when Taehyung touched J-Hope and Jungkook reacted, was more than an impulsive gesture. It was a statement. It was a silent way of saying, I don't want him around anyone else. It wasn't common jealousy. It was a response that showed how much he cares about what Taehyung does, even when he's not directly involved in the situation. In one of those moments that were etched in my memory, Taehyung approached Jin and touched him with a simple gesture. The scene seemed normal, but one look at Jungkook was enough to reveal something else. He didn't take it calmly, and although he tried to hide it, it was noticeable how he tried to intervene with a small gesture. Jungkook didn't make a scene, but he did make it clear that he didn't like what he saw. His attention is always focused on what Taehyung does and with whom he does it. Then, another moment occurred that further underscored this attitude. Jin approached and received a kiss on the cheek from Taehyung. Jungkook's reaction was immediate. His face became serious. He didn't say anything, but his expression spoke volumes. Jungkook can't hide how he feels when it comes to Taehyung. Especially when someone else is involved. These scenes draw a clear line. Jungkook isn't ready to see Taehyung in close contact with anyone else. Every time Taehyung interacts with someone, Jungkook watches. He doesn't act aggressively or call attention to himself, but his body language always conveys the same thing: he's uncomfortable. This type of behavior is repeated on several occasions. At events, presentations, or off-camera moments. Jungkook guards his space with Taehyung. And this way of protecting what he has with him isn't a coincidence. It's a clear response to what he feels. The fact that he tries to maintain that closeness just for them reinforces what many Taehyung fans have noticed for a long time. It's a genuine reaction that can be seen even in small gestures. Jungkook is clear that his bond with Taehyung is different, and he doesn't need to show it in an exaggerated way. Just observe his reactions whenever someone gets too close to Taehyung. Every time Jungkook and Taehyung are together, their movements synchronize as if their connection were invisible but real. They're so attentive to each other that no matter who watches, they always end up showing us how deep that bond runs. Over time, there have been repeated situations that show Jungkook's constant attitude whenever Taehyung gets too close to another person. Cameras, fans, and those who observe closely have repeatedly seen how his expression transforms. His eyes follow him, his body tenses, and his face changes in seconds. It's not just any look, it's an immediate reaction, a way of saying that something isn't right for him at that moment. This discomfort he displays only appears when it's Taehyung and no one else. What bothers him isn't the presence of others, but their being too close to someone who, to him, is clearly special. This isn't a unique case. Taehyung also has those same reactions. Just watch any recording in which Jungkook spends time or jokes with another member. Suddenly, Taehyung stops smiling, his attention focused on what Jungkook is doing, and it's clear he doesn't like what he's seeing. This isn't a simple distraction. There's a tension reflected in his gaze, as if he wants to intervene or remind them that there's a line that shouldn't be crossed. This pattern isn't new. It's repeated over the years, from their beginnings until now. What changes is the environment, not the way they react. These moments make it clear that, even if they try to hide it, they can't avoid it. There's a connection between them that makes them look out for each other, protect each other, and also mark their territory. And that connection becomes even stronger when someone outside is around them. There are dynamics between people that can't be explained with words. Between Taehyung and Jungkook, this dynamic has been evident for years. They don't need to speak to react to each other. If one moves, the other responds without thinking. It's not a practiced routine. It's a natural synchronicity that's activated just by being together. There are moments when their bodies communicate without saying anything. That's what really stands out. When they're in front of cameras, many expect them to act a certain way. But they do the opposite. They behave as if no one else were present. As if they were living in their own space, without pressure. That trust isn't built overnight. It comes from knowing the other deeply, from knowing what they're thinking and feeling just by looking at them. That only happens when there's an established, constant, and firm connection. It's not just about glances or touches. It's the way they are attentive to each other. If Taehyung laughs, Jungkook looks at him. If Jungkook moves, Taehyung follows. These aren't forced actions. It's an invisible physical routine. One that doesn't change no matter who's around. They've been on stage, in interviews, on recordings, surrounded by people. But in all these contexts, they maintain that closeness. There's never a moment when emotional or physical distance is noticeable. It's as if they both know their priority is each other. That kind of bond is felt. They don't need to touch each other for it to be noticeable. But when they do, it further reinforces what's already there. The audience doesn't have to interpret much. Just observe their gestures. A touch on the shoulder, a shared smile, or the simple act of looking for the other with their eyes says it all. You don't see that with just anyone. The way Taehyung and Jungkook communicate isn't based on words. It happens through gestures, glances, and physical reactions. For many, these interactions may seem like part of a show. But the difference lies in how they do it. They don't act like someone is watching them. They don't look for the camera. They just follow what they feel. There's a fluidity between them that needs no explanation. If one gets closer, the other doesn't move away. If there's contact, it's not to attract attention. It happens because that's how they feel. And this way of being together is so constant that it doesn't change depending on the location or situation. Whether at large events, behind the scenes, or on live broadcasts, they always display the same connection. That can't be achieved with practice. It's not something rehearsed. It comes from something deeper. From a connection that's already formed and doesn't depend on what others see. They don't adjust their behavior based on the audience. They act the same, regardless of whether there are 1,000 people or just one camera on. When they look at each other, they're not looking for an external reaction. They're just connected to each other. No long words or explanations are needed. They just do what they feel, and that's something that can't be faked. Their movements don't follow a script. There are no set repetitions. Each interaction has its own rhythm. That level of naturalness creates a language of its own. One that many Taehyung practitioners easily recognize. You don't need to understand everything they say, because the way they treat each other already explains it. If Taehyung laughs, Jungkook follows him. If Jungkook reacts, Taehyung notices. They're not acting. They're just being themselves. Despite any comments or ideas others may have, there's a firm foundation in what they show. It's not part of an image. It's part of their everyday life. And when someone observes closely, you can tell the difference between something planned and something real. The way they seek each other out and understand each other makes it clear that it's not a passing act. It's a way of being together that's already part of their routine, regardless of the place, time, or company. Beyond jealousy, there's something that defines Taehyung and Jungkook in a unique way: the way they move together. It's as if their bodies are guided by the same rhythm. They don't need to speak to understand each other. All one needs to do is take a step or make a movement, and the other immediately follows. There's no hesitation or pause, as if they already know what the other wants to do. This synchronicity isn't part of a rehearsal, nor a camera trick. It's a natural reaction that has been seen many times, in different settings and moments. It doesn't matter if they're in front of thousands of people or if it's a more informal recording. They always act as if the rest don't exist. In those situations, the two look for each other, constantly approaching each other, and make sure to maintain that contact. The distance between them never lasts long. When one moves forward, the other catches up. When one turns, the other follows. It's a kind of silent dance that has been repeated for years and always has the same pattern. This kind of connection isn't seen every day. The most surprising thing is that they don't force it. It doesn't seem like something they do out of habit or to show off in front of others. It's something that flows. As if they've been walking together for so long that their bodies have already learned to move in sync. There's something in their gestures that says they're used to being close, to understanding each other with a single glance, and to protecting the space they share. This closeness isn't broken even when other people are in the same place. They always find a way to return to each other's side, as if it gives them security. Even when several members are talking or participating, they tend to create their own space within the group. They seek each other out, touch each other, follow each other. It's a constant connection that isn't broken by the environment or the moment. The way they respond to each other's movements is proof that their bond needs no explanation. What they do isn't meant to convince anyone. They're not acting or exaggerating. They do it because that's how they are when they're together. And that makes everything more evident.